Hi there, Olive family and friends. It's great to connect with you today. I hope you all are doing well. Want to give a little bit of insight into what we're stepping into this next Sunday as we continue in our sermon series called Spend Yourself Well. So last week we looked at our identity and how we need to continually bring that piece forward as a driving force as it helps shape our purpose. And this week we're going to get a little bit more into some of those specifics of what that might look like as we look at Jesus' call as several times during his ministry he's questioned about what's the greatest commandment? Well, it's love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like it. So it's kind of like a 1 and a 1A, 1B. The second is like it. Love your neighbor as you've loved yourself. And so these are the two things that then when we identify ourselves, when we hold our identity with God, these are the two things that come forth as our purpose then for life. And so we're going to take a little bit of a look at what that looks like. And so I'll share a scripture with you. We'll share that. We'll probably look at this again on Sunday, but we'll look at it now. You can't look at it too much, right? 1 John chapter 4, verses 15 to 19. If anyone acknowledges that Jesus is the Son of God, God lives in them and they in God. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in them. This is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us. That's 1 John 4, 15 to 19. And so if our life is wrought with fear, that might be a sign that maybe we're not fully living in and trusting in the love of God. If our life isn't full of loving the world around us, that might be a sign that we aren't living in and trusting in our identity as what God brings forth, as what God says our identity should be, and the purpose that He brings with that. And so we're going to get more into this. Just heard a couple of sermons from Andy Stanley that talks about two other perfect examples of this. Joseph is a wonderful example of this, as well as the decisions he makes aren't for what's good for him right now, or what's good for or what he thinks people should deserve, but what's best for this loving the world around him. His brothers who threw him into captivity, right? He then ends up, he teaches them a lesson, but he welcomes them back into Egypt. And so many stories there in Joseph around this where he makes the decision to live into God's kingdom and the story that goes with that, and thinking about what story he wants to tell. And King David is another one. When he could have killed Saul in the cave, he didn't take that opportunity. He let his story of peace live through that. Even though he was a warrior and he could have killed Saul in that moment, he didn't. He let God bring him into his kingship in the way that he knew it wasn't his place to bring himself in, but he knew that God would put him in that place at the right time. So those are some other stories about, we have the opportunities daily to give people what they have coming. And that's the response that we so often want to give. But what's the story that we want to tell? Do we want to tell the story of, yep, I gave it to him, I told him off, I whatever? Or do we want to say, you know what? I was able to turn that around and once the dust settled, we were able to have a conversation about something, and now our relationship, working relationship, marriage relationship, parent-child relationship, they're stronger because I didn't just give them what I wanted to give them. I responded out of this place of God's my identity. Responding in that way is probably not good. And so I'm going to respond in love. So I don't know who needs to hear this today, but this is I'm getting too much into my sermon for Sunday, but that's where we're moving into, and this is our call. This is God's call for all of us if we say we are Jesus followers. Love one another, first and foremost. I hope you all are well. Love each other well. The people around you who have earned your love and the people around you who haven't. Love one another well.